Well, well. Well, well, well. Well, 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 well. Oh, hold on a second. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another... What is this called? Spaghetti Stream? Spaghetti Stream Live. I should call it... I don't know if I should call it Spaghetti Live, Spaghetti Stream Live, or... Spaghetti Live, Spaghetti Stream Live, or just Spaghetti Stream. I don't know which one I should call it, but I'm just checking on YouTube right now just to make sure that it's rolling. Yeah, rolling. Good. So I realized that we got a few things to talk about today. There's actually quite a bit going on, not just in the world in general, although there is that too. There seems to be a lot going on in general. Kind of like over the past, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, something like that. But obviously there's the King protests, or Not My King protests, whatever that is. This is a maker channel, you know, like 3D printing and stuff like that. So it's not so much politics per se, but, you know, I may talk about some things that are happening that kind of affect the makerspace as well as affect me personally and the company I work for and all that. And that's why I'm mentioning the protests and stuff is because they're happening in LA and I'm in Orange County. So I'm a little bit away from there. It's like an hour away, but there's also some going on. I don't know if like the King protest, I don't even know what it's called. I've been watching a little bit here and there on YouTube, but whatever the protest is called, it might also be going in Santa Ana because there was like a bunch of protests and rioting type stuff in Santa Ana, which is pretty close. So that's Orange County. So that's only like 15 minutes away from me right now. But so I'm not sure if there's stuff going on there right now, but obviously LA, there's stuff going on. And but that's the only reason I'm mentioning that is because there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the world in general. But in particularly in like the 3D printing space and like the maker space, there's quite a bit going on. And I think it's just because 3D printing is still pretty new relatively, and there's a lot of innovation going on in this space. So a lot of it's just like, this person printed a new shoes, or this company, Nike, created another 3D printed shoes, which is kind of cool. And actually I have one of the stories is 3D printed shoes. But that's cool though. That's fun. That's cool. You know, hey, they use this foaming TPU to print some 3D printed shoes. And then, of course, there's a lot of innovation and stuff, but Coke Zero. This channel is sponsored by Coke Zero. No, it's not. But I do like Coke Zero. However, what's the other news I have here? So, yeah, we got some news going on. We got the demonstrations going right now. I'm not sure how they're going right now. I don't think a lot of, like, violence or anything has really happened in LA this weekend so far. I could be wrong. I know they were like shooting them with like the paintball, like pepper guns and all that type of stuff. But I'm not sure that anything super crazy. There's some crazy stuff, but I don't know if it's like super crazy, like deaths or anything like that has happened in LA this weekend. There was some in other states and other cities, I believe. And there was like some actual shootings going on, but I'm not going to talk about any of that. I just wanted to like mention, yeah, that stuff's happening. And it's pretty close to me, but not close enough that it really matters in terms of like affecting me directly physically. What else we got? We got some, I want to talk about a little bit about MatterHackers, which is the company that employs me. One of the biggest, if not the biggest 3D printing retailer in the United States, at least. I'll have to double check that as far as like what the actual specifics are of that. Let me just double check my stream here. And, yeah, I think we're good. I'm going to go on to youtube.com. I just want to double check because I'm not sure at all if it is, if it's playing or if it's working or anything. I just want to make sure. Because this is the second time I've done this recently. This is the second time I've done the actual spaghetti stream. But I've done other streams before. I just want to double check that it's playing. So let me go to the actual link here so I can see if I can hear myself. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can hear myself. Okay. What else do we have to talk about? So there's some news. I want to go over. There's a couple of promos from MatterHackers. We got some news from me. We got some Q&As and comments that I want to talk about, from just some questions and answers from people that have commented on some of my other videos. I want to look at some Nerf stuff just cuz. And then we have some like VR, AR, 3D printed news. So yeah, that's about what we got. So let's start looking at. Oh, and Michael, it's basically my fault because I was supposed to tell him earlier like what time and everything, but he's probably not going to show up. He hasn't told me anyway. He might. We'll see. I told him like kind of at the last second because I wasn't sure when I was actually going to do this video. So, but here it is. So, MatterHackers right now. MatterHackers has a little promo going on for the 4th of July, and this is needs to be full screen. There we go. And basically, it's the 4th of July bundle builder. They do a lot of bundles and stuff, which is cool because then you can get like you can get discounts overall. You can get like, in this case, it's buy 5 spools, get the 6th free. And it kind of covers basically all of the different kinds of filament. And so you can just pick whatever you want. You can pick PETG, PLA, whatever. I don't know if there's like any TPU or anything, but it's all red, white, and blue, right? So if you need some filament, if you need red, white, or blue, or even teal, which is teal blue, I guess. It's a form of blue, right? There's translucent colors. There's clear, which is when you print it, turns out pretty much white anyway, or like a white clearish type of thing. What else we got here? Gold dust. That's more like yellow, but I guess that counts, right? For the 4th of July. That's kind of like the fireworks, right? Yellow fireworks. So if you need some filament, there's Thrifty Made. And this is also kind of like a cool little way to see all the different brands and stuff of filament that MatterHackers has. So there's some of my favorite ones right now. Polymaker, Panchroma, the mattes I really like. Yes, matte is not very strong relative to other filaments. It's one of the weakest, but they look really nice. They look cool. So if you need aesthetic looking things, which I try to do a lot of, then that's why I like matte. I've been using matte for like Nerf blasters, and it's probably a bad idea because of how relatively weak it is. But here, I'm actually building this. This is a kit from out of darts, and this is the Lonks, which is the Minx, but longer, bigger version. It doesn't have a barrel in it, but this is a Nerf blaster, and so this is, I believe, matte right here, and the rest is not. The yellow is matte. The pink inside is matte, which is bad because that's like all the parts that connect to the really strong spring, and they like shoot back and forth and hit each other and all that. So this is supposed to be strong. You want to make this strong, but I didn't. And then I also made some of the other internals matte. So it's probably a bad idea, but we'll see how long it holds up for. But this thing theoretically is cool. It's not done yet. I've printed it a couple times already, the body and everything, but I haven't really printed the final or the latest files for the Lonks, which are on the Discord of Orion Blasters. So if you're looking to like print one of the Lynx versions, you might want to check the Orion Blasters Discord because they at least have the most updated files for the Lonks, and because Printables doesn't have it. I wish this would be more like, what do you call it? I wish this would be more like easy to find the correct files, basically. Because if you go through out of darts, I think they send you to the printables, and so anyways, it's not the most updated designs unless you go to the Orion Blasters Discord. But anyway, so I'm working on that right now. I'm actually printing the latest files, but I printed it a couple times already because I also printed the PKI version, which is not the easiest print. The PKI version is the Lonks, but it's been I think he takes the 2.1 version of the Lonks, which is the latest, and then further modifies it. And that requires a different tube right here, he told me. And maybe one other thing, which I forget. There's, I think, some different internals. So that further complicates it because that's stuff that you would also have to additionally buy. But theoretically, it's a better blaster. I'm just, and I like the body of it better. This is actually the PKI version of the front part right here, the barrel shroud, I guess you could call it. And I think it looks really cool as opposed to the Lonks, the regular barrel shroud, which looks like this kind of. It's a little bit more square, and it continues this Picatinny rail, I think, up higher. But anyways, the point is, it's cool. PKI's version is cool, but it's going to take me a while to figure that out because you have to do additional work. So I'm reconverting it back to just the regular files, which means I have to print them because I never actually printed them. All that to say, I'm building a Lonks. And I got out of darts. You can see down there the out of darts box. Originally, I ordered a Saber barrel. I'll get it here in a second. So originally, I ordered a Saber barrel. This is a 700 millimeter. Okay, $30. Kind of cool. But then Michael at MatterHackers was like, you should get them to custom create a barrel that's even longer, 850 millimeters. I was like, sure, why not? And it was actually cheaper for them to custom cut one that was longer, and that was a .509 barrel instead of a, what's the internal of this? 13 millimeter, I believe. Anyway, so it's a tighter barrel, and it's longer, and it's cheaper, and that's coming in the mail from Out of Darts too, so thank you, Out of Darts, for doing that for me, although I did pay you, so that's probably why you did it for me. But anyway, so like that's what I'm working on right now. It's fun. It's cool to make these Nerf blasters, buy the kits, and make them. If you're like someone who likes building stuff. But yeah, this is one of the promos, I guess, going on for MatterHackers. Buy some filament. I don't really have I guess I'll put the link in the description. Maybe like after I shoot this, because or maybe actually I can put it in the comment. Hold on a second. Let me put it in the chat if I can. Maybe I can't. Oh well, I'll put it in the description afterward. So yeah, buy some filament. We got some deals going on at MatterHackers. And the other thing with MatterHackers is there is an event going on, which is called if you're like an educator, I believe that's what this is for. ISTELive 25 and MatterHackers Lunch and Learn with Bambu Labs. So this is for educators in San Antonio at ISTE. I don't really know what any of this is, but if you're an educator and you're interested in 3D printing, then this might interest you if you're able to go to San Antonio. Are you ready to dive into the world's most influential educational technology and curriculum expo? Holy crap. Yeah, so it's a conference coming soon to San Antonio, Texas. This year you can experience the excitement for free with an expo-only badge. Explore the latest in educational technology. I'm assuming that's what that means. Connect with top innovators and discover powerful classroom solutions, all at no cost. Again, if you're a teacher or an educator, someone that works in education, this might be something you're interested in. Your free expo-only badge gives you full access to the dynamic expo hall for all 3 days. So I guess there's more going on than this other than the expo. And this is an opportunity for you to access just the expo. So here's the information. It's in San Antonio, Texas, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, June 30th, July 1st, and July 2nd. So I'll also put this link in the description. I didn't really plan this well because I should have put these in the description beforehand. But it's in the description right now if you're watching this after the live. Okay. So that's also an opportunity for you guys. So that's kind of a couple things going on with MatterHackers. Other than we're remodeling the place sort of because everybody's kind of moved upstairs because we kind of acquired the upstairs of the office building. And so it's kind of nice up there. There's like a kitchen. I'll have to show you sometime. Maybe I'll do a live stream in the kitchen upstairs. It's like an open kitchen. We got a latte machine, but honestly, I don't really like the lattes from it. They're not that great, in my opinion, just for me. I mean, I just get the lattes. It does like Americanos and whatever else. I only like lattes really, or just regular coffee. But it's nice up there. And so down here is a little bit more of a ghost town, but they're doing a lot of remodeling. And one of the projects is they have me working on the hallway. I'm not an interior designer, but I will attempt to become one. And I will attempt to help design the hallway downstairs. So, yeah, there's several things going on here at the office, but that's about it for MatterHackers. What other news is there? Spaghetti Overdrive news. Okay. I am announcing officially that I will announce a giveaway. So I'm not announcing the giveaway now. I'm announcing that I will announce it. I'm going to make another video for the giveaway. It will be a $100 giveaway. And I believe it's just going to be like a like, share, and subscribe type of thing. So you can, whatever the post is that I create for it, you'll like, share, and subscribe it. And then there's multiple options that you'll have. And then every time you do an option, you get one more entry, right? It's one of those types of things where you can have multiple entries according to what you do. I kind of like that because someone who's more interested in like Spaghetti Overdrive or MatterHackers or 3D printing is going to do more. And then if they are not that interested, then they're going to do less. And then it just kind of makes sense. That was very obvious what I just said. You're like, yeah, exactly. That's how it exactly would work. Listen, my brain sometimes causes me to say obvious things, thinking that I'm saying something that is intelligent. And then right after, or right when I'm saying it, I realize, no, that was not really that intelligent. Okay. Well, you know what? My genetics are, not the best thing, but let's see what else we got here. So yeah, I will be doing a giveaway. Actually, I'm going to be doing multiple giveaways. I actually have grab bags of 3D printed like toys. Fortunately, I'm like really close to everything. So I have these grab bags of 3D printed things that I've printed for the videos I've done. So I will be giving these away. This is maybe like, if you were going to go to one of those outside fairs, whatever you call them, and buy all these things at a outside market. Each of these might be $1 or $2. So this might be like $15, $20, something like that, $25 worth of stuff. And some of it's like fidget toys. I try to make it kind of random. Fidget toys, articulating things, so a couple things that might actually be useful. Like this one has bag clips that are like these fries right here. Where's that right here? This is a fidget toy. Maybe like a little musical thing. So kind of like fun stuff. So we'll be doing giveaways of these as well. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be requiring people to do to win those. If you have any ideas, let me know. But because they're so like cheap relatively, that it's probably not going to be much. Like maybe I'll do like I'll run a contest or something, or maybe it'll just be like a like, subscribe, or share. Probably these will be like share it with your friends so that I can get more exposure, right? That's kind of like the thing. So there will be multiple giveaways. In other news, on my little list here, for some reason I put Spaceballs 2. Let's watch it because Spaceballs I watched a long time ago. It's pretty old, right? Spaceballs. And it was cool-ish. It was good enough to watch, right? Like it wasn't the most amazing, but it was like it's a classic, right? It's a classic in terms of like, it's pretty funny. It's fun to watch. Just watch it. It's fun. But if you haven't seen Spaceballs 1, yeah, watch it. If you're kind of a nerdy person, because it's obviously it's like Star Wars, a Star Wars spoof. But Spaceballs 2 has been announced. So let's check it out here. Let's check it out. Watch the. Okay, let's start from the beginning. So I just think this is cool, and yeah, let's watch it. Should I read it? 30 years ago, there was only one Star Wars trilogy, but since then, there have been a prequel trilogy, a sequel trilogy, a sequel to the prequel, a prequel to the sequel, countless TV spin-offs, a movie spin-off off the TV spin-off, which is both a prequel and a sequel, which, by the way, I have not watched any of the only... Since the prequels, which is with like Jar Jar Binks and stuff, the only Star Wars I've watched, unfortunately and possibly fortunately, is Rogue One, and the first episode of the sequels, right? First episode of the newest trilogy, whatever you call it. Just the first one. I didn't watch the second or third. And that's it. So, and there's been a whole lot more. There's been Ahsoka. There's been all these other ones. Wait, was Acolyte Star Wars? Yeah, Acolyte was Star Wars. I watched Acolyte, but I think it was really bad. So I thought it was really bad. But I watched it mostly because it was bad, pretty much. Not to mention, 2 Dunes. Okay, so like, I like the idea of watching movies sometimes, but I never watch movies, so... I did watch the first Dune. 7 Jurassic Parks, really? I stopped at like Jurassic... I think I watched Jurassic World. So like Jurassic 1, 2, and World, I think. So I watched like the first 3. So I'm missing 4. 2 Avatars plus 3 upcoming Avatars, making 5 Avatars. I watched the first Avatar. 36 MCU movies. I'm so far behind with MCU. And I don't think I'm ever going to watch any MCU. The last one I watched was the first Iron Man, I think. I never watched any of the Avengers. 36 MCU movies with 2 different Robert Downey Jr.'s. I don't know who the other Robert Downey Jr. is. DCU attempt number 1, DCU attempt number 2. Never really watched any of the DCU movies. I know there was like the Batman and was there like a Superman or a couple Superman, a couple Batmans. Have not seen anything since like The Dark Knight. An animated Lion King. An animated? Like the computer animated? Didn't watch it. A live action animated Lion King, which is false because... Oh, so I wonder what the animated Lion King was. A live action animated Lion King, which wasn't really live action, was it? It was CGI. Like the whole thing was CGI. They didn't actually use real lions, right? So is that live action? That's CGI. That's not live action. A live action animated Lion King prequel, which I believe is Mufasa? Is that what it's called? 8 Harry Potter movies. Oh, so Harry Potter happened after... Yeah, okay, yeah. They're talking about Star Wars, right? 8 Harry Potter movies. I watched the first 6, I believe. I didn't watch the last 2, which was like split in 2, right? Part 1 and Part 2. A TV series remaking the same 8 Harry Potter movies. So that's what's coming up, which I'm actually very interested in. I'm probably going to watch it. That means I'll have to watch all the Harry Potter movies first and then watch the TV series. A whole streaming service of Star Trek. There's a streaming service of Star Trek? I have not watched any Star Trek either, except for the newer movies. You know, the newer movies, like the one with the Romulus, where it's... Anyway, 7 Alien movies, which I never really got into Alien. I think I watched the first Alien. That's about it. 2 of which were also Predator movies, not to be mistaken for the 6 Predator movies that are not also Alien movies. 1 Prometheus, which I did not watch, which is kind of an Alien movie. 4 Beatles movies, and Oppenheimer. I don't think I watched any of the Beatles movies. One of them is probably the one where he's like, everybody forgets the Beatles except for this one guy who plays the guitar. I started watching that, and I got like halfway through it. And he remembers all the Beatles movies, and so he's able to recreate them, and he becomes really famous and lots of money and stuff. Whatever that one's called. And Oppenheimer, which I did not watch, which I should also probably watch. But in 38 years, there's only ever been one Spaceballs. So this should be cool. This is just an announcement, like teaser announcement. Until now.
After 40 years, we asked, what do the fans
I want that
want?
sweatshirt. Spaceballs, the
But
sweatshirt.
instead, we're making this movie.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go buy it. The Schwartz awakens in 2027. Oh, 2027, so like a year and a half. Yeah, I'm totally interested in watching this. And I want that sweater, so I'm going to have to go to whatever Spaceballs website and buy that sweater because that's a cool sweater. Let me just see if it's actually for sale here. Come on. Come on. No. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to find that merch and I'm going to buy it. So that looks cool. That looks cool. Does that have anything to do with 3D printing? No. Do I care? No. Also no. However, it's fun, and so is 3D printing. So that's the connection right there. That's the connection. And I can make whatever connection I want to make, because I can do whatever I want. So there you go. There you go. We have one viewer. Oh, yeah, so Michael is telling me he's not making it. Sorry, but no apology needed. I don't usually talk like that. No apology needed. No apology needed because I'm the one that told him at the last minute, basically. So that's my bad. I'm very interested in watching Spaceballs. I'm very extremely selective which movies I watch just because I'm just not that interested in movies in general. But if there's one that's like I had fun watching in the past and there's like a new one, I might be interested in watching it. What's next? Speaking of new, here's a new thing to talk about. Segues are dumb. I'm not gonna do segues. Some people are like on YouTube are pretty smooth with segues. Some like lean into it as far as like make it a joke, like this is a segue to the next thing, and it's funny, right? Because I'm obviously trying to make a segue for funny stuff. I reject all that. I will have no segue and just move on to the next thing. So there you go. That's how I do things. 3D printing. Oh, so in the 3D printing community, right? It is a niche within, I guess a niche you could call it, or a genre, I guess. So there's the whole tech space, right? Which is, it's actually a combination of the tech space and the maker space. Not to be confused with a maker space where you go and make stuff at a building. But it is making, so it's the maker space of like making things like carpentry, welding stuff together, building something. So that's where 3D printing lies. And then there's like tech space, which is, I would argue, a bigger space than the maker space. And that encompasses anything tech, which is basically everything these days. Not really, but seems like it. So this microphone is tech. This laptop is tech. Everything's tech. Phone. This Zoom Pod Track P4. So like the bigger sort of genre, I'll just call it, is tech. And then there's the maker space, which is also big. I don't know how big it is compared to tech. Probably smaller, I would assume. And then niching down more, there's 3D printing within the maker space, I guess. But it's also combining tech. So why did I say that? That's a very good question. There's not much drama going on is what I was trying to get to there. I think part of it is just because it's like a nerdy niche thing within the maker space. Maybe not. Maybe it's not why. It's just that's just an interesting thing is that it's a niche, but it's not even that interesting. That had nothing to do with what I'm saying actually. There's not much drama going on is what I'm trying to say in the 3D printing area. So when there is, it's like not really drama, but it's like, wow, there's something going on. Let's talk about it. So at least not that I know of. I mean, the Bambu thing is like some drama with like the whatever they did with the software, closing it off or whatever. I don't even actually know. I didn't dive into it that much. This is not like I get super into things to the point where like I'm super knowledgeable about something. Maybe I should, but at this point in time, I'm not super knowledgeable about certain things. But so like the 3D printing professor is a pretty big YouTuber that 3D prints stuff, and he is highly skilled at making little characters and games, and he's done it multiple times in the past. He's done several Kickstarters, and Let me just open up this video. And yeah, so he's highly skilled. And he made this game on Kickstarter. Maybe I'll put the link in the bio as well. And it is like a D&D style game, dungeon crawling type of thing. But I think simpler, it seems. And it's a tabletop game. You can 3D print all the parts and stuff. So he was trying to find a company to 3D print his pieces for him so that he could actually sell physical copies, because he was just selling the files. And he was like, some people don't have 3D printers but want to play the game, so I'm going to create the 3D prints and then mail it to them as physical things. So he was trying to find a 3D print farm that could do that for him, because he could do it with his own printers and stuff, but he was trying to, pawn it off to someone else so that it would be more efficient for him and all that stuff, I would assume. So he tried using Slant 3D, and I'm not like knocking either one of these people. I think they both have points, pro and for and against the situation, I guess you could say. They both have good points, so I'm not really like trying to knock one or the other. I think they both have good points, but yeah, he had some problems with Slant 3D and the quality. So let's take a look at what he said. And then Slant 3D made a response, and you'll find out this is not extremely dramatic. It actually was very amicable, but it's like the most drama that you could possibly have with 3D printing. So let's take a look at what happened. So he's just going to talk. This is like a little bit into the video. He's going to talk about the quality of the prints here.
Here's the bag. Here's the pieces. I haven't seen anything yet. Ooh, I can see them now. Let's see. So, yeah, there's a invoice and recommend placing on raft to ensure no small parts are lost. So they've got a couple of notes for future for me doing this a little bit better. Miniatures of this size are not recommended for FDM. Dude, come on. I know. I know. I can make these 100% work in FDM. Don't tell me my business. Come on.
So yeah, I mean, he prints really small miniatures that are like,
these look.
Look at how small they are, which you can totally print these with an FDM printer. You just use a high quality setting, and then you're good to go. Printers, the Bambus and any other recent printer can print high quality prints, so shouldn't be a problem. But
all right, so we
have
got very, very interesting. So this is the hinged chest, the first one that I pick up, and it's got a couple of inserts to put inside of it, including the tongue for the mimic and stuff like that, as well as the, oh no, that's just the tongue for the mimic. So this is a mimic chest, but it's not, this was a print in place piece. It was supposed to print laying down and then pop off, and I have done several of these myself already, so I know that the print in place hinge does in fact work under most circumstances, but for some reason their print service didn't do that, and I am seeing the layer lines are significant. This looks like they're,
you can see it's pretty low quality. It's like a draft quality, and we'll find out that Slant 3D, their settings are very minimal. So like you can only pick a couple different settings, and that's for good reason. That's one of the things that I agree with them is like, listen, if you're trying to like mass produce prints for a bunch of different people and create a print farm that is, mass producing parts and stuff, you probably can't necessarily have every single setting, because there's so many settings in the slicer software. So you can't necessarily have every setting that people can adjust and tweak. Although maybe that is ideal, because this is a very tinkery type of business, right? Is like 3D printing. If you're getting into it, you want to get to know the software and all the settings and stuff so that you can make tweaks and learn about it, so that if you have a problem or if you have a certain print, you want to optimize it and all that. So maybe a 3D printing farm should make available all those options for people who are more in the know. And maybe you have a couple different options. You're like, hey, do you want this simpler printing option, which is like 4 different options, or do you want advanced? And then as the user, you can pick. But Slant 3D is not there yet. And he talks about it on Slant 3D, which we'll watch in a second. He's not there yet because he's still building it out. So it's understandable that you might have few options. But yeah, as of right now, it seems like they just have like a kind of a lower quality option, as in an option that'll work for a lot of things, but not necessarily really tiny things like this.
Consider draft quality. This is extremely low quality printing as far as that's concerned, and the hinge chest didn't even work. So as the first one that I'm picking up, I'm not super impressed with it. Let's see about the rest of them. Again, taking a look at the zombie mini that I sent them, the quality is awful. Honestly, this is beyond draft. This is like 0.25 layers. This is, I mean, this is draft, but this is worse than I would ever print out. Now, normally when I do my printing, I print them at 0.15 or 0.12.
Yeah,
not
it looks pretty
quite
bad.
0.1, not as high as 0.2. I try to find something in between there to print them at. But this looks like, it looks like Slant 3D. In order to get their prints out faster, in order to get them out at a, and I understand, this is a cost-saving measure for them. They make things designed to be printed at very thick layers, and the result of that is, I mean, they're right. Yeah, the minis are not meant to be printed like this. On your service, I print them on this service just fine. Not on your service. I print them on my printers just fine. I just take the layer height down to 0.12 or 0.15 and they look fine. Let's take a look at these other ones. The Goblin Mini, yeah, again,
really
it
bad.
looks like, boy, I'm reminded of a Doctor Who episode with the boneless.
I've never seen Doctor
That's
Who.
what we're looking at here. The one that I printed looks fine. The one that they printed looks like a stack of pancakes that are vaguely shaped like a goblin.
Ooh, pancakes sound so
I'm
good right now.
disappointed. Well, let's look at the terrain here.
The best pancake
The
mix
terrain.
is Hungry Jack, just so you know. Hungry Jack, I got like the big bulk box like a month ago, and I still have like half of it remaining. It's so good. It's so good. A couple eggs, Hungry Jack, pancakes. Oh, and get the one where it's like complete package so that you don't have to add eggs or anything. So good. And it like rises too a little bit when you mix it. It even says allow it to sit after you mix it with water, and it'll rise a little bit and become really fluffy. So good. I'll probably make some when I get back home.
Too badly, although they had a print error on here.
This game looks cool
the
though.
thing is-
I like the idea of D&D. And I've played it a couple times here and there in the past. It's just you have to get so involved in it, spend hours. This type of thing where it's like a simpler D&D dungeon crawler type of thing, tabletop game, I think I can get into. Which, by the way, I have backed this, just so you know. I have backed the 3D printing professor's PrintAQuest is what it's called. It was on Kickstarter. Well, it still is, but it's done now, I believe. They sent me an email, so I have to respond, I believe.
When I
should be
sent
cool.
them this job, they recognized who I was. And to their credit, they didn't give me any better service than they would give anybody else. But this is not quality that I would use, that I would want to represent me. Now, I think that for certain use cases, Slant 3D is perfect. If you're printing big utilitarian things that you just want to be able to produce them quickly, that's fine. But I feel like they need an option for better print quality, because I know that these models can be made with better print quality, but they are just not doing it. And
yeah, so basically that's basically the gist of his problem, is that he was understanding that they didn't have higher print quality options, but he wanted to try them anyway to see if they would work for him, because he was looking for a print farm, and he was like, well, Slant 3D looks good. They have a big print farm, maybe one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in the United States or wherever, I don't know. And so let's give it a try. And so he found out that it wasn't high enough quality for his little miniatures, where they could be great for like bigger objects or for draft quality for like prototyping and that sort of thing. So he was understanding that they had limited options, and that they weren't necessarily meant for him. But he was surprised at the low quality, and he was also surprised that they said that miniature, basically small items less than like an inch cubed, should not be printed on FDM printer. So that's something I disagree with Slant 3D. You definitely can, and the printing professor was showing that you can print. He's printed them multiple times. But the thing is, that requires changing settings and all that, which is not easily scalable, at least for Slant 3D right now, and probably for many 3D printing farms. It's not super easy to scale. If you're trying to do like an internet-based thing where the user enters your details and then they go to print it. So if you're talking to a print farm in person or on the phone and telling them all the settings and emailing them back and forth, that's one thing. You could set up the prints like that. So if there's like hand-holding type of thing. But if it's an automated thing where you're inputting stuff, it's probably a lot harder to have all the variables that you could input to have a higher quality print. So they keep it really simple, Slant 3D is what I'm saying. And that's kind of their model. But they're talking about like increasing the options over time because of stuff like this, because like some people need customized options. So I'm going to play. There's more to that, but it's basically that's the gist of it. So if we go to Slant 3D's response here.
So when Joe did the video, we absolutely investigated it.
Joe's the 3D printing professor.
Want to know why the part went bad. We want to see why it was. Joe did have a design note included in it where he said, we don't recommend this be printed. And yeah, the guy said it was FDM. Joe mentioned that it probably should just be said with our service. That's reasonably fair, but I can't train my team and everybody who works in production on the politics of 3D printing. So when they design a feedback note, they're not thinking about the ramifications of the statement that shouldn't be printed with it.
So that's what I disagree with. You can definitely train your team to just if they're gonna put a note in that says this isn't recommended to be printed with an FDM printer, you can definitely say for us to print in a 3D printer. You can make that a policy that you write down. You could say, while many people could print this with the FDM printer at high quality, we don't do that. So you definitely could train your team to do that. So I disagree with Slant 3D there. These parts can definitely be FDM printed at a high quality. So it has to do with his print farm, and not the politics, like he said. Like, what politics are you talking about? It's just, can you do it or can't you do it according to your business? And his business right now, he does not do that. He's decided not to print at that high quality, so that's his choice. So I disagree with him in there.
FDM. But this is like one of the pieces. This is one of the little goblin fellas or something that we've been like reprinting. So this was a reprint of it after we redid it. And the one Joe got was worse. What happened was it ran through the system. It got flagged for manual reprint because it failed in printing. It got flagged for manual reprint. The parts were reprinted. The cost of it was like $3. And then it was shipped after the second reprint because they're like, it was manually sliced. There's nothing we can do about it. And this part, we don't recommend anything smaller than a cubic inch be printed through teleport. And this is smaller than a cubic centimeter.
So that's where he clarifies through teleport, which is the software to print on his print farm. So basically the twist here, I guess, is that his service is as automated as he can make it. He's trying to automate it, right? So that's why if it was more of like a customized thing that you could talk to them on the phone or whatever, or through emails, because it's automated, you can only have so many options that you can do.
The reason we don't recommend parts this small is because while it may have worked for Joe, someone else who is less experienced can't really design this. And when our technicians are tracking stuff, they just track it for this. Normally, these types of parts would be flagged and rejected by the system at upload to where you can't order them, but Joe uploaded them in a batch. So it was a set of like 8 pieces that were all printed at once. And I can't.
So there's several things going on here. And that's why I'm not faulting one or the other, because I think most of this is teleports / Slant 3D's communication. I think most of this is communication. Like they could communicate better what options you have and provide more limitations. Like Slant 3D allowed Joe's parts to be printed because he didn't have a way to stop him from putting multiple parts on a plate, right? So Joe put the multiple parts on a plate to be 3D printed, and it wasn't flagged. So that's a problem on Slant 3D's part. That's kind of, they're at fault there because they didn't flag it. You could say, yeah, I don't really fault Joe for doing that unless he knew and maybe he was just trying to do it anyway to put all his parts on a plate. But anyways, these are like limitations that Slant 3D has that they need to solve, which he's very, I forgot this guy's name. Yeah, I don't remember his name. That's okay. Slant 3D is working, and he's made Slant 3D has made multiple videos about them updating teleport and becoming better at it. So I really appreciate Slant 3D and what they're doing and how they're trying to grow and become better.
I can't show them all because Joe did not show all of them in his video, so I don't want to do any sort of IP release of them all. The other one was a tolerance on this tray here, and yes, it does come apart. I think this one, the tolerance fit of this, the biggest thing was Joe prints his parts at 0.1 resolution, and the teleport resolution is 0.2. It's over there on the FAQ page. We're pretty transparent about that. But
yeah, so that's like, if it's on the FAQ page, fine, but do I know if I haven't checked out the website. Do I know if it was like very obvious that they only print at 0.2 and nothing higher than that? No, I don't know. Again, I think that's probably a communication problem from Slant 3D's side. Maybe they need to clarify more what the minimums and maximums they do on their prints so that you know what you're getting into. Maybe they need to do that.
That 0.2 resolution creates more sloppiness. The other thing is printing it in gray. Gray is we have a really popular video on the channel where we talk about white.
I did not know this about gray.
Gray and white are pretty much the same. There's a colorant called titanium dioxide in these materials, and titanium dioxide is a really chunky colorant which changes the flow properties of stuff. And gray is the worst one for high tolerance and high precision and it's tiny feature type of parts, because its flow rate is a little bit different. And
maybe there's something I'll test. I've never noticed any differences between any of the colors as far as printing them. Maybe gray is harder to print than other colors, but I don't know. I mean, I've never heard that either, other than from here.
You can't really compensate for that flow rate reliably by just saying push out more, but it's kind of more restrictive. So you get different dynamics of it. Joe's parts all looked to be printed in like black. I don't want to say that. I think they were printed in black. Oh no, they were printed in like a blue. And blue.
I think he printed in multiple colors, if I remember correctly. I mean, we just saw the video. It seemed like maybe he painted some.
Who has less of that light colorant inside of it, less of that titanium dioxide. So it's smooth. It prints more crisply, especially when it's small. Also, if these parts are not batched, you don't have all the retractions in between them and all the travel moves. There's also this other little fella like this who had some stringing on it on the one that they received. With that big tall sword right there, if you hit it with a heat gun, there's a danger of it warping the sword. So the guys are careful.
Maybe it sounds like he's making a bunch of like, what do you call it? Where you make excuses. Maybe it sounds like he's making a bunch of excuses. To me, it just sounds like he's explaining the difficulties of printing this, and that's kind of it. And the reason I say that is because he has made other videos where this is like a bad picture of him. He's made other videos where he's like, I really love negative feedback, any kind of feedback, because we're trying to make the Slant 3D and teleport better. So I understand his spirit of like improving things and being open to criticism and stuff. So he's not trying to make excuses here. He's just explaining how the difficulties of printing things.
And they're like, we just got to leave it. And like the parts aren't coming out well anyway. So when a part is not printing reliably, the point of sending the bad parts along is to be educational. It was a $3 set of parts for Joe there. So they think it's worth the education to send the design feedback back of like doing this kind of stuff. Because teleport is used by a lot of brand new 3D printing people who just don't know what is doable and what is reliable.
And that's the thing. The 3D printing professor is very experienced with 3D printing, especially the kind of parts that he prints. So when Slant 3D guy, I really got to figure out what his name is, talks about Teleport is for newer people. That's where he's got to make it as simple as possible for the newer people. And then the 3D printing professor is like, I want all these specific customized requirements. Those two things kind of clash. And I think that's the main problem here is 3D printing professor wanted highly customized, like 0.16, layer height, whatever. And then maybe whatever other custom settings. And then Slant 3D wants very simple, just a couple options. And that kind of clashes. So I think that's kind of the main problem here, other than maybe Slant 3D needs to be better at communication. And 3D printing professor, maybe he expected too much from this service that said that they wouldn't necessarily be able to do these small items.
Because they're not like deep in the hobby and that kind of stuff. They're trying to create a business. So we try to just give them feedback of like, this is something you probably don't want to run. And in the context of 3D printing, teeny tiny little thin parts like this, or thin parts like this, are not something you really want to run. Can they run? Sure. Do you want to run them? No. These are printed at a 0.2 resolution in light gray to where you have a lot of problems compounded.
Yeah,
there's our response. Oorah. But this leads into the discussion topic.
So, and the next part, you should watch the video because he talks about negative feedback and how he welcomes it and how he's trying to improve the product and everything. It's not perfect. But, so he kind of was explaining how, what was he explaining? He was explaining how, that you don't want to print small parts like that. But I think he's specifically talking about Teleport and his service. And how if you know what you're doing, you could print small parts. I think that's kind of his general thing, but Teleport doesn't print small parts like that. So that's basically the drama. That's it. Like, there's no drama really, okay? That was clickbait. There's no drama. It's just someone had a problem, and the problem was mostly communication based and mostly hoping for better results than they got and things like that. And that's kind of it. So these are kind of the complications of 3D printing in general. Is it's not a mainstream thing like an appliance is on a countertop. It's something that you have to tinker with and you have to figure out and you have to troubleshoot. It's not that hard it's not really hard if you're someone that's into it. Like if you're like a nerd, basically. If you're not a nerd, if you're just like a normie, then you just want something that works. Bambus are kind of there-ish. They're not as there as I compare them to appliances because appliances are something that just everyone has on the counter and you can just press a couple buttons and it works. And you don't really have any problems with appliances. You have to clean them. That's about it. They're extremely reliable these days. Toasters, blenders, microwaves. I can't think of any other appliances. Whatever other air fryers. Coffee machines. Like, I can't remember when I've ever had to troubleshoot any of these machines. Never. I've never had to troubleshoot a microwave. There was no clogs in a microwave that I ever had. I had to clean it out, but that's it. I've never had to troubleshoot a blender. Like, a blender never just, gave an error on the screen and said, error 2.79, check the manual. No, that's never happened. Maybe one burnt out and then it stopped working, so I had to either replace the motor or replace the thing, or one broke because I dropped it. It's not the same with 3D printers. Even the Bambus, there's still a lot that you do with them that you wouldn't with an appliance. You have to troubleshoot. If there's a clog, you have to be clear the clog, restart the print. Sometimes the print just stops midway for some reason and it doesn't tell you why. The filament runs out. You have to replace the filament. What other problems have I had? Spaghettification. You have the wrong settings. You selected PTG instead of PLA or PLA instead of PTG. You're like, I'm going to print some TPU, and you find out, it takes 20 hours just to print a little tiny thing, and then there's tons of stringing, and it's horrible because you didn't dry it for 12 hours beforehand. So all that is not the same as an appliance. And I compare, in my mind, I'm comparing 3D printers to appliances because I think that that's kind of the way people think of 3D printing, or like a start, ideally how it should be, right? From Star Trek, where it just materializes whatever you want. That's more like an appliance. It's so reliable, it just works, and you don't have to deal with anything. Now, as someone who likes techie stuff and likes messing around with them, I'm fine with all the troubleshooting and all that, because I'm fine with going online and learning about it and researching it and finding the solutions and everything. So I like doing that. But thinking about someone who's like an accountant or something like that, where they don't have time or don't really care about technology, they just want something that works for them. 3D printing is not there yet. There's still a lot to solve as far as making it as reliable as a blender on the countertop. Why was I saying that? I was just saying the state of 3D printing right now is I think of it as it needs to become mainstream. It's not mainstream. It's like, it's fairly popular. It's growing in popularity, but to become mainstream in like every person's house, for example, or like as mainstream as a cell phone, where every single person has one. Or not even every single person. Let's say the amount of people who have like a Nintendo Switch has a 3D printer. For it to become that popular, then it needs to be as reliable as an appliance. Or like it has to be as reliable as a Nintendo Switch. So all these problems of can't get clogs, can't spaghetti. The settings have to be extremely easy to understand and very simple. So like you maybe select 5 different settings that are obvious. So it has to be like, do you want this to be high quality? Yes. And then it prints a little miniature at 0.1 or whatever. And it looks great. Does it need to be, maybe it's AI integration is what it needs. And it needs to detect what you're doing and then apply settings for that thing, so that the user only has to select certain things, very minimal amount of things for it to work, just like a blender. You don't select which power wattage do you want for your blend today. Oh, I need 300 watts because I'm blending ice. Let me refer online to what power setting I need for ice in a smoothie. Oh, it's 350, but do 400 if you're using 2 cups of ice instead of 1. How long do you want it? All those little details are taken care of by the presets on the device itself. Blenders, I don't know. It's really just, you just push the button and you start and stop. So maybe that's not a good example. But the point is, it's all based on presets. All of the intricacies of the details of the power settings and this and that and the other thing are all just turned into presets that you can then press on a microwave or on a blender or whatever. That's kind of how it needs to be with the Bambu. It needs to have like 5 buttons on the front, and that's it. And then it's going to be mainstream. And it needs to work pretty much 100%. So we're not there yet. They're not that reliable. But relative to the industry, Bambus are they the most reliable? I'm not that knowledgeable. I'll say they are perceived as being the most reliable. So we'll go with that. They're perceived as being the most reliable. It's the most reliable printer that I own, which is just one. So, yeah, I'll just say that. What else do we have to talk about here? So that's the drama. I want to say that like the Bambu software drama was probably bigger. Well, yeah, it definitely was way bigger than this. Because this is kind of a little bit more niche thing between 2 YouTubers. I'm not trying to drive any like drama between these guys, any beef between them. And speaking of that, MatterHackers has a print farm. So I actually contacted a 3D printing professor to see if he wanted to use MatterHackers. And so that's kind of ongoing. I'm not sure if he wants to use MatterHackers. We talked a little bit. I thought it would be cool if he used us because we are much more customizable. So Slant 3D, the model that they're going for is as automated as they can, it seems, with their web-based thing where you just enter in all your stuff and it gives you the quote, and then you only have limited selection of settings. because that's how they're doing it, and then it automatically gets printed. So that's cool, and I think that's long term the way to do it, because you kind of want everything just automated and happen, automated and high quality. They've got a way to go as far as quality goes, but in terms of like the way they're doing it, I like. But for now, probably the best way to get the best prints is more like what MatterHackers does, which is more of a customized approach. So they will actually consult with you. You'll either send emails or they can talk to you to figure out the kind of quality that your print needs. And if you're a new person, then MatterHackers' approach is to help you figure out, or to help them figure out how to print your parts, I guess. So they'll like consult with you and be like, okay, what do you need? What kind of quality do you need? What is it going to be for? And then they'll figure out like all the settings and the materials and everything. So there's a lot more options with not Slant 3D, but with MatterHackers. And you can do a whole bunch of different kinds of quality and materials and stuff, which is different from Slant 3D, which is less options, but more automated. And that's I think obviously the best approach here is to do both, right? The best approach is to have your final print be exactly what you want without having to do a lot on your end as the user, right? You want it to be simple for you, but you want to get you want to get exactly what you want in the end. So to figure that out, you want to have it as automated as possible while also creating the final product, which is really good, which means there's a lot of variables that you have to figure out how to do the variables. And that's where I was talking about presets. So if there was like, maybe it's like 10 or 15 or 20 presets that you have on your website, and you're like, it could be like a car. Like when you're shopping for a car, there's all these different options, right? So it goes through a bunch of the options step by step, right? And then you select them all. Or like insurance, you're like, okay, there's a lot of options for insurance, so pick through all these menus. Maybe it's the same thing for 3D printing. Hey, what are you printing it for? Skateboarding. Okay. So then it narrows it down to the materials that would make sense for skateboarding. What part is this going to be for? Oh, it's the trucks. Okay, so now we're only using these one or two materials, and so on. It's something like that. But there's so many variables. Like there's so many things you can print, and then there's so many materials that seems kind of hard to do. And so that's why I think MatterHackers, for now, is the way to go when you're trying to print specific small parts like the 3D Printing Professor. You'll get a lot better results than with Slant 3D, where there's going to be a lot of things that Slant 3D can do that, and their automated approach works really well for maybe bigger things or things that don't require fine detail or don't require different settings than the few that they offer. So I think that if you are looking for a print farm, you should check out MatterHackers. You can call them. The thing is, like, I want to promote the print farm more. MatterHackers has created like a video recently on like social media to promote it. So, but I think it could be promoted more. And so I'm trying to figure out ways to promote it more. That's why I contacted the 3D Printing Professor. And we'll see if he uses us. It'd be cool if he did, because I think this game looks really cool. Let me look up the Kickstarter. I don't remember if I showed it last live. It's called PrintAQuest. This is the game. Looks pretty fun. It's a build your own adventure. So it's over now. Yeah, successfully funded. $6,100, which is pretty cool. And yeah, so I'll be getting my copy of this because I paid, I think it was like $20 for the regular pledge. So it got up to $4,000, new themed set of terrain tiles, and it hits $6,000, which is a new boss mini. So, and that's where I got, and then there were higher ones that it didn't reach, but so yeah, I'm pretty stoked to get my PrintAQuest, and I'm hoping he'll use this. But having said that, when the 3D Printing Professor created his video, there was like several people that came to him to offer print farm services. One of the cool things with MatterHackers is that we are very open. MatterHackers is very open to putting stuff on the storefront. So I'm actually looking to possibly get Nerf blasters onto the storefront too, 3D printed Nerf kits. I started working on one for a while, and I have to get back into it. My own design. So yeah, so that's the drama. And if you need a print farm, contact MatterHackers. I'm gonna try to make the print farm. I'm gonna try to promote it. We have like 60 or 70 printers, and they're, I think, all Bambus. So what am I working on? So some of the things I'm working on are the lonks, like I mentioned. These are some of the projects I'm working on at my creative ambassador job. Got the lonks. I'm doing a fair amount of Nerf blaster stuff only because of Michael. It's gotten me into it, and it's really fun. And if you're like 3D printing, it's one of the coolest things to print is Nerf blasters. I'm also working on a wizard staff, which is kind of on pause right now because I need to use a 3D scanner to scan some things to make it work. So I'm kind of waiting on that, but that's hopefully in the next few days I'll continue that. I'm doing a lot of slow-mo stuff. I got a... Where is it? This is a Samsung Galaxy S10. So it's a little bit old. I don't remember what year it was. 2019, something like that. But this thing can shoot at 940 frames per second. So it can do slow-mo at 940 frames. Which is basically like there's nothing that can shoot like that. That's cheaper than, $5,000. The stuff that can shoot at slow-mo like that is like $5,000 plus. However, it can only shoot that for like 0.4 seconds. So like less than half a second, which is really for a lot of things is all you need. And it has a thing where it has a box that detects motion so that you don't have to like press the record. You don't have to time it, right? It times it by itself. So it's really cool. And it's great for like things like if you're bashing things or blowing things up. And it's good enough quality. It's okay quality. It works. You need a lot of light. But I'm working on slow-mo stuff like that. I've got a couple videos on Spaghetti Overdrive that are like things where I'm like destroying things. And then I'm working on the hallway over here. So those are just some of the things I'm working on. I'm trying with my channels to figure out. Well, obviously, so my main goal is to become viral, to make videos that have millions of views. To do that, to make videos that have millions of views, you have to appeal to like, typically, well, it varies, but like one of the easiest ways is entertainment, right? If you can like, that's why like Mr. Beast and all these big top YouTubers are mostly entertainment. There's a few top ones that are in the makerspace, for example, or like Linus Tech Tips is like, what is he at? Like 16 million subscribers, but that's not close to the top. Top is like hundreds of millions of subscribers, the YouTubers, and a lot of them are entertainment. In fact, I think most of them are entertainment, if not all of them are entertainment. So to get that big, like I know in the maker space, there's a few that are in the millions or tens of millions of followers, like Mark Robert, I think it's 20 million, something like that. But like, if you want to get higher than that, you're looking at entertainment for the most part. I can't think of one that's not entertainment. There probably is. So if I'm like, the idea of like shooting for the stars and you'll hit the moon. In other words, if you're like shooting for a higher goal than what you really are okay with, then you might hit your goal that you're okay with, right? My goal is I want to get in the tens of millions of followers. So with this channel, with this channel. So if I shoot for entertainment instead of shooting for like being a maker, then I might hit being a maker with a lot of followers. Does that make sense? So if I'm shooting for entertainment, which is hundreds of millions of followers, I might get to 10 million followers, right? That's the idea. Is that accurate idea? I don't know, but it seems like it makes sense at a very basic level. But to do that, you have to kind of copy a lot of what these entertainment channels do. Basically, if you want to become really successful at something, it's a lot easier just to copy what the successful people are doing. Make it your own, whatever, but also basically just copy them. So a lot of the ideas that I want to do are very similar to what these entertainment channels are doing, only with like 3D printed stuff. That's kind of the difference. And so like some of these are doing like these things where they're just like, one example is, one of them that I'm going to copy. And by the way, these take like a higher production than what I've been doing. So like one of them is these guys, what is it? The something brothers. They are, they have like, someone looks like they're in a watermelon head, and then there's other watermelons, and they're like, which one's the real watermelon, or which one's a fake watermelon? And they're like destroying them with a hammer or something, a bat. And it looks like they're gonna hit the guy that's his head is in the watermelon, but then they hit the other ones until finally the last one, and then they actually hit him. And anyway, it's just like this, they're destroying watermelons with a bat, basically. So I'm like, okay, well, I could do that similar thing, but with 3D printing. I could like 3D print stuff that I destroy with a bat. And my head is in one of the things that I destroy. So that's the kind of stuff I'm doing. That's kind of the gist of my channel, my Spaghetti Overdrive, is fun, crazy things, printing really big things and blowing them up or something like that. That's more entertainment based than like technical or educational, which a lot of 3D printing stuff is more reviews, educational, and technical stuff, right? Mostly technical and like reviews from what I've seen. And then like more generally, and there's probably some people which I haven't like watched every single channel, so I don't know exactly, but I'm sure some 3D printing people are more entertainment based, where they're like, hey, let's print this really cool thing that's really big. But generally, I've seen that in like the makerspace as a whole, where people will do like a really big 3D print of myself, full size, things like that. So, or like I'm printing a whole car. I think that's one of the video I watched that recently. Someone's trying to print a whole car. So, that's what I'm trying to do with this channel, is be more entertainment based, because I think that has a higher chance of being more successful in terms of tens of millions of followers, not just hundreds of thousands of followers. So that's kind of my vibe. That's kind of how I think. And it is going to require me to increase my production value. Instead of like simpler stuff, I got to do maybe less videos, but higher quality. But I do like this streaming podcast thing, because I can get like at least 5 videos from it, and I want to do long form videos. But if you want to do long form videos and you want to become as big as like some of these entertainment channels that are hundreds of millions of followers, again, those are also really high production. You got to be spending quite a bit of money on just one video. You need a whole production team, basically. So I'm not there yet, so I'm just going to do this kind of thing until I can start getting there. So I wanted to let's transition. Let's transition here. Q&A and comments. So I wanted to do some Q&A and comments from previous videos that from like TikTok and YouTube and stuff that some people have asked over the last month or two, maybe. And actually, it's all from the last month. So these are all these from YouTube. They might be from YouTube, except for like 2. Fash Bug Smasher. This was a month ago. Asked, so this is when I was 3D printing my pillar, my Rome pillar. I recommend using foam or wood to carve a pillar, or even use wires as a frame, spray foam it, and shape it up. And I printed it from PETG on just a Bambu, and it's like a 4-foot tall pillar. And it's like all in pieces now, because I tried gluing it together and it fell over. And now it's in pieces. Then epoxy soaked durable fabric paper mache style. I'm not sure if you have a specific application that requires PTG, or if you're testing the capabilities of the printer, or if printing would be faster. I just figured I'd point out that you could save money by using other methods. Really effing cool skull and killer setup, by the way. So yeah, basically that is what I was doing. I was trying PETG, testing the capabilities of the printer. I don't know that printing would be faster. Yes, printing would be faster for me because I do not want to get a bunch of spray foam. I don't want to carve something. I'm not an artist. I don't really want to be. I don't want to get epoxy and soak durable fabric paper mache and lay it on it. That probably, if I had the skill or the tenacity, is that what you call it, to actually develop those skills, the patience, I guess, and if I wanted to actually spend the time to learn all those skills, then yeah, I probably could have created a better product over the course of like 2 months, but I didn't want to. This definitely was faster for me just to 3D print it. And I could have printed it, which I probably will make another pillar. It's just a pillar, but I just like them because you can put something on it, right? And then bash it with a hammer. So I'm going to redesign my pillar anyway, now that I've started using Fusion 360. And I'm going to reprint it with like the Orange Storm Giga, the big printer. Probably be 2 pieces instead of like 6 or 7. And so it should be a lot easier. But yeah, also I'm going to use like probably the Orange Storm Giga to print decorations for the hallway at work. And this is an ongoing series that I'll have on my channel. I already recorded one video of it, which is hallway redesign or something like that. I'm going to print like pillars that are like statues of different things so that they can put like plaques and stuff on them along in the hallways, like the awards that MatterHackers has gotten over the years. And they're going to be different colors and stuff, so it should be cool. But yes, this person is Fashion Bug Smasher is right. That would have been better carving foam or wood and using epoxy soaked paper mache and spray foaming it. Probably would have been higher quality and looked nicer if I had the skills to do that, and if I had the time that I wanted to spend to do that, to learn that and stuff. And it sounds a lot messier. That's like the main thing there. It sounds very messy. Baxter Buckwheat asked several weeks ago if these don't need to support anything, you could probably print them in vase mode. I think I'm going to try something like that. He's referring to, I was wanting to print hollowed out objects, and he was like, use vase mode, but vase mode doesn't work if it's like you have to have the top open with vase mode. There's specific requirements for vase mode. So I was like, how do you print something with 1 wall or 2, but I was doing 1, and that is like some kind of shape that can't be open on the top, has to be closed. If you do that, then the top's going to cave in, or it just won't print on the top. And so the solution partially is to use lightning infill, which is for that specific purpose. It basically, the item is going to be as hollow as it possibly can, but when it needs support for like the top, so that it doesn't cave in, or so it's not just like open on the top or spaghettification, then it creates supports just for those areas. So it just creates supports for the top where it has overhangs that would require supports. So that's what I've been doing lately, is just using lightning infill. I still want to try to figure out if there's a way to do it so you don't have any infill at all and still have a completely hollow 1 wall or 2 wall object with no infill, not even lightning infill, and still make it completely whole, right? And I was thinking, is there not a way to put supports inside of an object so that it supports the top like lightning infill, but just supports that you can then either cut a hole on the bottom and remove them or something like that? So maybe there's a way to do that I don't know. I don't know. It's something I'll have to research more. Blue 193. That's crazy. He commenting on his own sheet. Yeah, I comment on my own. I comment like my own post. Yes, I do that. I don't think it's weird. When I first started doing it, I thought it was weird. I was like, wow, this is like, I'm very like self-absorbed to like my own stuff. But it's just a way to like do you not like yourself? Do you not like your own posts? Of course you do. So like it. Like your own. It gives you the ability. Why isn't everybody not liking their own posts and commenting on their own posts? What's wrong with that? I think it's better than not. So I think everybody should. So yeah, I do comment on my own posts. posts. I hype myself up. I'm like, yeah, this post is awesome, and it's me posting that. So yeah, I do that. Bobany8722. These are all from YouTube. Not a leak, it's bait. This is referring to the part of the last live stream where we were talking about the new Bambu printer that was leaked. And I called it the H1D on the thumbnail. So I guess it was a little clickbaity. I didn't really think about it much, whether it was clickbaity or not. It got several down likes, not likes on the video, whatever the opposite of likes are. Because I said, oh, is this an H1D? Or I said, the H1D leak or something like that. A little bit clickbaity. I wouldn't call it full clickbait. But because we did say in the video, we called it the H1D, or like, what should we name it? The H1D or something like that. So it's not really clickbaity. It's like we did call it that in the video. But I guess it was misleading because it was like, oh, people thought it was an H1D. But it probably, according to some ideas, it may not be called the H1D. It might just be called like the H. What did someone suggest? So there's the H2D. It could just be called the H2, maybe, or it could be called the H1S. I don't know. Whatever. No one knows. We'll find out what it's called. But anyway, yeah. So some people called my video clickbait, but that's fine. Nutzer1122 Abel says, if it's really a leak, it will be the H2, not H1D. So yeah, it could be the H2. Why do people print a riser? So I printed a riser for my Bambu Lab P1S for the AMS. The reason is because because that way you can remove the top glass easily. Also, the riser you can remove it without taking off the AMS first and then removing it. And then it has a bunch of like additional storage and places for plates and stuff. So that's why. I wouldn't say it makes it look better. It actually makes it look more kind of crazy. So aesthetically, it's, I don't know. It looks kind of crazy. Where do you find STLs of stuff you print? So I don't post all the like files and stuff that I print on my videos, every single one on like on the video or on my website or anything. Just some of them that are like the more notable stuff I print, like the longs, for example. I'll put these files up on my website. So any files, any stuff that I'm printing, I'll put on my website. And most of the stuff I'm printing is from MakerWorld. So you could either just try searching for it, or I have my MakerWorld collections. So I'll try to share my MakerWorld collections on my website. I won't necessarily put them all on all my shorts, or all my short form videos. Long form videos, yeah, I'll put links if I have links. But yeah, everything's like on SpaghettiOverdrive.com for the most part. Not every single thing I print. That's a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna put like STLs and the filament I used for an articulating octopus. Although I might. Maybe I'll put it on the actual like video itself. Like, I used this and this filament. I don't know. We'll see. But for like a series, like the Greg Mammoth sniper rifle that I'm going to be building, that's going to be a project. It's going to be like probably a couple week project. So that'll be on my website. So I'm trying to put everything I can on SpaghettiOverdrive.com. And most of my prints are from MakerWorld, so that's where most of the STLs are. If I have my own STLs, I'm also putting on MakerWorld, but I'll probably have links on Spaghetti Overdrive. But let's transition to some news. So there's VR and AR. Should we have a little? Yeah. I need to start using this clapping. It's kind of fun. Woo, AR news. So there's some things going on. There's 3D printing news, but I wanted to talk about some VR AR news also. So there's actually, let's kind of just, let me see. I'm wondering if I want to do that much. Yeah, I guess maybe I will. Oops, I just accidentally did something here. All right. So there is, yeah, let's open this up here. Highly organized live stream going on here. Oh yeah, I gotta click the button. So the reason I want to talk about VR and AR is because it's what do you call it? Ancillary? It's a, what do you call it? Ooh, do I have my ad blocker not on? Sorry about that. It is a genre. I just call it genre, whatever. Industry that is next to 3D printing, right? VR and AR is used in 3D printing. Vision OS, the persona is significantly less cursed. So that was the, like, it creates a 3D model of your face and then shows it while you're like FaceTiming or whatever. They've improved it, so it looks a lot better. If you watch I think it was the WWDC.
So oh, look at this.
And this,
look at my nose.
This looks pretty good.
It's so contoured.
This looks very good, actually. Oops.
There we go.
Okay,
Oh,
well, it's not
sorry
showing
about
on the
that. Sorry
screen
about
because it
that.
like freaked out.
Look at my eyes. They're so much better than they used to be. Oh, hello.
Okay.
That's what my old Slack avatar for the Verge used to be. Just
It looks really good. I'm still not sure of the point of it, but I guess the point is like you can be in different settings if you recreate yourself in 3D, you can more easily put yourself in different settings instead of using like green screen effect, which doesn't look as good. You can have whatever lighting you want because it's 3D. You can change how you look instead of like having to set up lights. So I guess that's the point. It gives you more options if you can recreate yourself in 3D. So it's looking really good right now. From the outset, you might be like, well, what's the point of this? But like I just said, there could be good points to it. The process to make personas hasn't changed, but the end result is vastly improved. It doesn't completely erase the uncanniness. The bottom half of your face is still more expressive than the top. Got my nose a bit weird in certain angles. Some micro expressions feel stiff, but hair looks more like hair now. You can see eyelashes and skin texture. It was even able to capture my nose contour makeup. Okay. Wes's side profile is much better, though the mustache can still be odd in motion. That's Wes right there. So, yeah, I mean, it looks good. The biggest thing for me, though, is when I laugh and my eyes scrunch up, I no longer look like a caricature of myself. After spending a few weeks experimenting with AI image and video generation, I've been subjected to numerous demoralizing renders of my monolids. Okay. You might not know this if you're not Asian, but monolids aren't considered a desirable feature under traditional Western and Eastern beauty standards alike. Is that true?
Vision Pro.
Maybe, I don't know. I think a lot of people like the monolid look, don't they? Do I have monolids? I don't know if that's true or not. Just gonna say. So blah blah blah. What the heck? Okay, so they improved that. Cool, great. They made some other improvements to the Apple products, including the glass situation. You know, like everything looks like the glass look now. So, yippee with Apple and everything. So then we have, moving on to the next story, the MetaQuest 3S crashes back to a record low price during Best Buy's Father's Day sale. I'm not joking. So, very affordable if you want to get MetaQuest 3S. I've been wanting to get one of the Quest 3s, either the regular 3 or the 3S. And there's a lot of like 3D stuff you can do with them. So I want to use it for 3D modeling and stuff, and then seeing what you can do with 3D printing with it. I think that could be interesting to see what you can do with it. That's not really a story worth reading. It's just there's some sales for Father's Day and stuff. But there's a lot of like AR glasses. Snap is coming out with one in 2026. And again, anything that has to do with like 3D can be potentially what the no. Ugh. Okay, well anyway, they're coming out with it. Can potentially be used for like making stuff with 3D printing and stuff. turning into a actual physical object. So Snap is coming out with their glasses in 2026. Samsung just tipped to show off Project Muhan headset during Galaxy Unpacked in July. So here is Samsung's headset, which kind of looks like an Apple a little bit. According to a rumor, we might also get a glimpse of Project Muhan, the company's forthcoming Android XR headset. So we'll see what that is going to be competing with. Maybe the Apple headset. Fairly light on the. They've been fairly light on the specs for the headset, despite showing it off several times between these events. So not a lot of details. It could have 1.3-inch 4K OLEDs on silicon panels, pixel density of 3800 ppi, or more than the Sony displays in the Apple Vision Pro. Wow. Okay, so it sounds like it's going to be a more premium thing to compete with the Apple Vision Pro, I guess, which is wildly popular, right? But maybe that'll be able to do more because Apple's doesn't have a lot of stuff you can do with it. And then we have Android XR glasses are more like Meta Orion than we originally thought. I don't know what any of that means. Meta Orion? Oh, maybe it's like Meta's version of these types of... These are the kind of AR, VR, AR... I guess they're AR. These are the types of glasses that I'm more interested in because these are things that... They look normal and they're going to have limited ability compared to VR headsets, but... theoretically you can use them more, so they're going to be more useful despite their more limited use. Does that make sense? I could wear these throughout the day and use them, where I could not wear a VR headset throughout the day and use it, even though the VR headset can do more. If all this did was show text from my cell phone and have AI and audio built into it, then that would be super cool. I used Ray-Bans, glasses that were connected to AI and stuff. They were cool, but the battery was the worst part of it. It only lasted for a couple hours. It was kind of crazy. And then what else do we have? Apple's liquid glass design is paving the way for AR glasses. So this is the Apple's liquid glass look. Everything is unified now and it's supposed to look like glass. And so, yeah, we don't know much about the rumored Apple AR glasses yet, but we'd be willing to bet we'll see the liquid glass in them. So we'll see what those look like. So we got some glasses coming out, and there's already some out, but there's even more coming out. So this is the headset, the wearables, the glasses. This is kind of where a lot of innovation is happening at the moment in the tech world. Not so much, I want to say, yes, there is in VR, but the AR side of things, where these are things that I think could be used by the masses because it's just like regular glasses, but enhanced glasses with AI, and you can see some text or maybe some color images. So these are things the masses will be able to use versus VR headsets, which you can only kind of just use at home unless you want to look like a freak of nature. And then we have Qualcomm's new on-device AI chip could change smart glasses forever. Not really going to read this. Billion parameter on-device. So this is just to say that there's a lot of stuff going on in the AR side of things, which I think is great. And I will be at some point buying some AR, VR glasses. And yes, I will be doing that. On the 3D printing side of things, we have some news. Etsy cracks down on 3D printed products. They're not allowing 3D printed products right now. They have a dragon problem, according to tomshardware.com. Etsy has redefined its creativity standards to exclude a vast majority of 3D printed goods sold on the website. Now, anything 3D printed must be produced based on a seller's original design. So This would seem to eliminate the wildly popular Flexi Dragon prints and many other 3D printed items that can be found by the thousands on Etsy's virtual shelves. I wonder how many of those are violating some kind of copyright versus ones that people own the copyright to through licensing payments. Like, is this saying even if you have a correct license to sell it, you still can't sell it because it's not your original design? The move took 3D printing sellers by surprise, and it was unannounced by Etsy itself. Instead, the update was caught by sharp-eyed Etsy sellers who bothered to read the legal section under Our House Rules, which is buried a few pages deep in a recent Etsy community newsletter about keeping our marketplaces safe. The alarm was sounded through the 3D printed forums as Etsy sellers panicked that their shops might be shut down. Okay, so I guess this is the new drama in the 3D printing world. When Etsy first launched 20 years ago, it was an online bazaar of handmade crafts and vintage items. Now the site is flooded with cheap trinkets sold by dropshippers, resellers, and sadly large 3D print farms. Not ours, I don't think. Oh, look, a MatterHackers ad. The company began cleaning house in 2024 by introducing creativity standards. The whole idea being that Etsy is supposed to have a human touch. It's supposed to be like handmade stuff, which a lot of it is not. So items produced using computerized tools, physical items that a seller produced in their personal shop or home using computerized tools such as laser printers, 3D printers, CNC, or Cricut machines. These items must be produced based on a seller's original design and are often personalized or customized to a buyer's specification. So those are the rules. They don't know how they're going to enforce the new policy. Yeah. 3D printing as a whole is not endangered on Etsy, as printing and selling your own creations is still encouraged. People who want a stockpile of third-party designs can still sell items on other platforms. So I guess according to this, even if you have a license to sell it, you can't sell it unless it's your own original design. Are they on Etsy gonna like research that? Like that's what they would have to do, right? They'd have to research every design you put up and be like, hey, is this your original design? So I don't know if they can even can they even keep up on that somehow? The U.S. Army is 3D printing drones and repairing them. Will soon have the capability to make the vast majority in-house. Ooh. We'll just take a look at this real quick here. When you buy through... they're 3D printing their own drones. That's kind of cool. Okay. That's the story. Yeah. We know that the Army... They use drones. I guess maybe they're not building and repairing their own drones in-house. Ever wonder if you could 3D print a car? This is the car I was talking about earlier. Somebody's 3D printing a... What is this supposed to be? Like a Ferrari? Oh, Jaguar D-Type. Genuine Jaguar D-Type examples are the kind of cars that make auction house price... yeah, so like I guess this could be an example of something that potentially 3D printing could do is printing a something like a car that is no longer produced, extremely rare, and basically doesn't exist anywhere. How do you acquire one, or how do you have your own? Well, you could print it. Now, is that copyright violation? Like, are you allowed to do that legally? I'm not sure. People do it all the time anyway, so maybe it is legal, or maybe it's not, but people just do it anyway, and Jaguar doesn't care, or whatever. But this guy's using Mazda and printing the body around the car. What is the hardest part of the build so far? Everything has been a challenge. This is about the third thing I've 3D printed. I've only had my printer for a couple of months prior to deciding to start this project. That's a pretty big project for someone who's only had a 3D printer for that long. Hours of research and brainstorming, and the only things that have given me the confidence to take on something so foreign. But where did... I wonder where he got the files. Like, how did he create the files or get the files? Maybe there were 3D files already for this kind of car. Let's see. It doesn't say. Provided you got the chassis to slap it on. Strength of the rear panels. Yeah, it doesn't really say where he got the files, so he either created them or maybe there's some 3D files of this car already, because you can 3D scan anything and put the files up online. So it's possible that it was already. Oh, I'm not even showing you the screen here. Here it is. There it is right there, ladies and gentlemen. 3D printed car. Yeah. Kind of cool, kind of cool. So then what else we got here? Designing blood vessels for 3D printed hearts. That's kind of cool, I guess. You can design blood vessels for 3D printed hearts and then 3D print them. We got some more sneakers. Some more sneakers that look like skeletons. Sneaker designs are becoming bolder now, with a lot of designers looking to break out of the mold in order to stand out of a competitive market, no longer confined to the standard silhouettes and materials. Today's sneaker landscape is witnessing a surge of innovation where the line between fashion art and functionality blurs. Even established brands are embracing this evolution, introducing designs like ballerina-inspired sneakers and experimenting with unconventional materials such as mesh, metallic finishes, textured leathers, and even automotive-grade surfaces, like one pair reportedly inspired by the Tesla Cybertruck. While most will probably still stick to the more traditional and comfortable sneaker designs and just experiment with colors and prints, there are still the more fashion adventurous people that would look for something out of the ordinary. Exoskin emerges as a bold manifesto, an experimental sneaker that challenges everything we know about footwear. This debut design from emerging brand Corix, created by Lion-based designer Maddie Naim. Am I even saying words here? Okay, yeah. They look kind of crazy, kind of cool, I guess. Are they purchasable? That's like the question here. Can you print them yourself? The only sneakers that I'm interested in are the ones that I could print myself, really, because I don't want to spend $250 for 3D printed shoes that I don't know how long will last. I'd rather be able to print it. So I'm more interested in the 3D files as far as like sneakers go. What else we got here? So we got sneakers. 3D printing business in Charlotte makes splints for ducks. Save the ducks, please. A 3D printing business in Charlotte is helping ducks walk. Oh my gosh. Pekin ducks grow very fast, and if they aren't given the proper supplements when they're young, their bodies will grow faster than their feet, causing walking problems. So they made like feet splints. Aw. I really want ducks. I'm going to get ducks at some point. But you need a little bit of land, and they're messy and all that stuff. But they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. And what else? We got like one more. AI can track... Oh, yeah, this one is kind of interesting. AI can track 3D printed parts. AI can track 3D printed parts back to specific machines that made them. Could it be used to find the origin of 3D printed guns? Okay, yeah, I guess. Or anything that you 3D print, but I guess guns are like the scary thing that people print, right? So scary. Oh my gosh. They're going to track my Nerf blaster back to my printer. This guy shot a Nerf dart at me. I'm going to track it. Researchers have developed an AI-driven system which can pinpoint the specific machine following an inspection of the 3D printed parts it has produced. A Granger College of Engineering team from the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, says that the system can be used for managing supply chains, detecting early problems, and verifying that suppliers are following agreed-upon processes. So here's a picture of like different patterns that different printers theoretically produce. Hidden fingerprints of 3D printers. So only a photograph of a part printed by a certain 3D printer is needed to verify its unique signature or fingerprint. We're still amazed that this works. We can print the same part design on two identical machines, same model, same process settings, same materials, and each machine leaves a unique fingerprint that the AI model can trace back to the machine. What can AI not do? What can't AI do? So here's some pictures here. They all have different patterns, obviously. And then it's like, beware of using your 3D printer for illicit goods. Like what? Like guns? 3D printed guns? Oh, they're so scary. Despite what sounds like a rather narrow focus on 3D printers used in factory production environments, the AI can work its magic on a far broader pool of devices. Don't use it for illegal stuff. Okay. There are thousands of 3D printers in the world, tens of millions of 3D printed parts used in airplanes, automotive, medical, consumer products, and a host of other applications. They have a unique signature that can be detected using AI. So if you're going to 3D print a waifu character in a bikini and you don't want your mom to find out where it's from, don't let her cut it in half and take a picture of it and scan it with an AI, or else you're screwed. Or your girlfriend. Don't let your girlfriend do that either. Don't let her. But this, if anyone was hoping to be anonymous using your 3D printer to print various things that you don't want other people to know about, maybe that's not going to be the case. Maybe I'm guessing that this AI, I mean, it's probably a kind of customized thing. It looks like it's from some college. I'm guessing that like police and detective people are gonna use it for detective work and stuff. So if like a 3D printed gun is used in a crime, then they'll be like, yeah, we're gonna use this AI stuff. I don't think you'd have to worry about printing like an articulating octopus and not wanting people to find out that you printed it. But I don't know. Maybe this could be used for like as like you don't have to give people your phone number, business phone number if you're like a 3D printer. You just be like, scan my 3D print using your AI app, and it'll tell you where you got it from. And maybe that's going to be used for marketing somehow. Anyway, that concludes the horrible section of news. Yeah. Oops, I didn't mean to press that. Because there's some news, but there's not really much to like go in depth with. It's just like people are printing things. So that's kind of cool. I think that's about it. I've been going for almost 2 hours, I think. So remember, I'm going to do an announcement for a giveaway. Not doing a giveaway yet, but I will be doing an announcement for a giveaway. Follow me on SpaghettiOverdrive.com. Follow me on Spaghetti Overdrive. Follow me at Spaghetti Overdrive on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and that's it. And right now I'm doing a lot of entertainment-based videos, except for these YouTube videos, this live stream. I'm hoping to turn this into something bigger. Not sure what to do with this live stream. What I really want to do is like have multiple people on. I think that would be fun. We'll see if I can get like some other makers or something on here. I don't really know what we'd be talking about. Probably doing the same exact thing here, just like with more people. Doing fun stuff with like a live stream in the maker space seems kind of odd to me. Like, what do you do that's fun that involves making on a live stream with multiple people? I guess you could like share what you've made. I don't know. You can share what you've learned and talk about things. Something like this with multiple people works really well for like movies. Like if you're talking about pop culture and movies, you can talk about stuff. I don't know. We'll see what this turns into. I'm just kind of pontificating. I don't know if that's a right way to say that. What else? Yeah. Watch my videos. Like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to subscribe to this if you want to see. I think I'm going to do this every weekend. We'll see how it goes. The live streams, if they don't get a lot of views, it's fine. I cut these videos up. And so if those perform well, if the cut up segments perform well, I'll keep doing this, even if the live stream doesn't get a lot of views. Hopefully over time I'll get more views with the live stream. But we'll see what it turns into. I want to make it fun in some way. We'll see how that... if you have any ideas, let me know. But thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a great